Hi, here we are at the Laars Training Center. Anytime you're servicing a piece of equipment, it must be performed by a licensed contractor. Also, gas and electric must be shut off prior to servicing that equipment. Thank you. Hi, my name is Steve Maruzzi. We're here at the Laars Training Facility. We're going to talk about the NeoTherm. This product right here is from $80,000 to $210,000. We're going to discuss how to open up and inspect the heat exchanger if it needs to be cleaned or serviced, as well as the burner. So the very first thing we want to do is make sure power is off to the boiler and gas is shut down, is shut off. Okay. We're going to remove the lower panel simply by pulling forward, lifting directly up. Now that the lower cover door is off, we're going to discuss getting into the heat exchanger itself. So you'll see there are 6 number 10 nuts that can be removed, and that whole burner plate will come out as one piece. But prior to getting into that, or prior to removing these nuts, we also have the fresh air intake comes into the venturi, the gas valve is attached to the venturi, and the venturi is attached to the blower. So we're going to disassemble this here and pull this out all as one piece with the blower, arm, and burner head. So prior to doing that, I just want to show you what I have as a demonstration here. So the orientation is the same. This is where your arm is for the burner plate. Okay. We have the gas line that comes in, and that attaches to the bottom of the gas valve. The gas valve is attached to the venturi with 3 Allen screws. Okay, and the venturi is attached to the blower. And there are 2 Allen screws, one here, one here. Those are number 4 Allen keys that you would use to disassemble that. So we're going to go back to the boiler. We're going to remove these 2 screws and the 6 number 10 nuts and take that whole blower, arm, and burner head out all as one piece. The first thing we're going to do is remove these 2 number 4 Allen screws that hold the venturi to the blower. Next, we're going to slide the arm or the venturi away from the blower itself. Now we have 6 number 10 nuts. We're going to take those off. I've already loosened those for us. Just going to rest these down on the bottom of the cabinet. Next, we're going to remove the ignition cable and ground wire from the igniter, as well as the flame rod wire from the flame rod. Now, the blower, arm, and burner plate are free. We can slide that forward. And lastly, we need to remove the 2 Molex plugs for the blower. There's our DC signal. There's a little tab on the back side of it. You're just going to pinch on the tab, slide it out of position. And the line voltage, 2 tabs on the side, loosen them and take them out. Now we have the whole burner head and burner complete. Okay, so this is what the heat exchanger looks like. Obviously this one's not very dirty, but you do want to inspect them annually, and we're going to be looking for things like coffee ground, substance adhered to it, things to that nature. Keep in mind we also have a back target wall that this should not ever have to be removed, but if you damage it for any reason or it is damaged, there's a single Allen key right there, or Allen screw rather, that would come out, and that rear target refractory wall would be replaced. So to clean this heat exchanger, you do not want to use a steel brush. We want to use a nylon type brush that you can get in and just remove any loose debris and then vacuum that out. As well as if you have anything adhered, you want to clean that. You can use straight white vinegar, local grocery store or what have you, a little spray bottle. Spray that down. You can clean that heat exchanger right up, again, with a nylon brush. Do not use a steel brush. This is a stainless steel heat exchanger. We do not want to score it or gouge it. Okay. Any other debris, try and vacuum it out, and then you can wash the balance down through the condensate. Just make sure if you do have a lot of debris, you want to remove the condensate hose from the condensate trap. That way you do not get a lot of debris caught up in the condensate trap. Next, we're going to look at the burner. So I'm going to lay this down on its back, And now what we can look at is the gap between the igniter and the flame rod. The igniter gap should be between 3/16 and 1/4 of an inch gap across the igniter, 1/4 of an inch off the burner head itself. The flame rod should also be 1/4 inch off the burner itself. So, to remove those, if you had to clean them, I'm going to flip this over. All right, so what we have here, there are 5 number 25 torque bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That holds the plate to the arm to the burner plate. So I'm simply going to remove these 5 number 25 torque bits. So I've loosened all number 25 torque bits, and I'm going to pull the arm right from the burner plate. Okay, and there's the arm, and here is our burner. Gently slide this burner out of position. Okay, because on the back side is a refractory block. You don't want to distort this or destroy it. So gently bring this out of position. So now you can inspect the inside of the burner for bugs, debris, grass clippings, anything that may have gotten drawn into the actual burner, all right, and the mesh itself. All right. If it does need to be cleaned, hit it with an air compressor. Blow it out. You can use warm water and just rinse this in warm water. However, if you have sheetrock dust due to new construction, you don't want to be putting this into warm water with sheetrock dust. So one of the other things I want to point out when you're putting this back together, so providing this is clean or if you needed to clean it, there's a little half-moon dimple on the burner. That lines up with the half-moon dimple, I don't know if you can see that right there, on the casting of the burner plate. Okay, and the reason we want to line that up, that's where the seam is for the mesh on the burner. You don't want that near your ignition point. All right, so very simply, you're going to gently push that back into position. Again, we do not want to destroy the refractory block on the back side. Okay, and then line up your half-moon dimple. Next, make sure your gasket is in place for your arm on the burner plate. Okay, line this back up and tighten the set screws. Okay, so now we're tightening the number 25, the 5 number 25 torque bits. That will hold the burner arm back into position on the plate. All right, and the next thing I want to talk about is pulling the igniter, all right, or the flame rod. These are number 20 torque bits. All right, so I'm going to change my bit to a number 20. And very simply, remove the torque bits and gently slide the igniter out of position. And you'll notice that on the igniter there is a graphite gasket. Okay, you do not want to tear this gasket. So if it's stuck on the plate itself, gently wiggle it. You may need to use a razor knife or something in behind it to take it out. If you need to replace it, you can order the igniter and flame rod with gasket, so they'll have new gaskets into position, and that's how you can replace it. Or if you wanted to just pull it with the burner plate in position, you could to check those. You can check this if you've got the burner head out of position. You could check the igniter and flame rod. If you need to clean them, please do not use an emery cloth or things to that nature. Just clean them up with a brush if you can. There is a thin coating on some of these igniters and flame rods, and you don't want to remove that thin coating. All right, so very simply, you can take this out, clean it up. You'll see 2 sets of gaskets here on the burner plate. These gaskets are reusable, but inspect them. Make sure they're not damaged. If needed, you could replace these, but you can reuse these if there aren't any issues with them. So just inspect those gaskets before you put the burner head back into position. Okay, so now we're going to put the burner back into position. Prior to doing that, I also want you to inspect this gasket. It's a cork type gasket, the venturi mounting to the blower. It is reusable. Just make sure you don't have any tears or anything on it, and be gentle with it. If needed, you can order it. So prior to putting the burner head back into position, it's easier if you can remember to wire the blower back to position. Okay, it can only go in one way. If you try and put it in the wrong way, it will not line up. Okay, so we have line voltage, and we have a low voltage DC signal that drives the blower and fan speed. Okay, so next we're going to slide this right into position. I'm going to use one number 10 nut to hold that into position so it doesn't fall out on us. And the next thing we want to do is we want to use our two number 4 Allen screws and remount that venturi back to the blower. So I'm going to line that up and put those two screws back into position. So now with our two Allen screws in and in tight, we're going to then line up the other number 10 nuts. Again, there's a total of 6 of them. Get those into position. Okay, so we just need to make sure that all of the number 10 nuts are very tight into position, okay, which I've gone through and tightened all of the others. So next, we want to wire back up our igniter and our flame rod. So the igniter, there's a ground lug. So just land your ground lug. And we want to make sure we've got the ignition cable. So the ignition cable comes out of the center of the Honeywell solar control. All right, that's our ignition cable. We're going to land that on the igniter. And the flame rod lead comes up to this Molex plug right here. And this is your flame rod, and that's your ground. The ground again goes to the igniter, and flame rod goes here to this Molex plug. So we're going to trace that down. There's our flame rod wire. Hook that up. Next we're going to put the panel back on, and you'll see there are 2 tabs down on the bottom, so you can line those up. Our panel is a little tight to get banged around, and lock it back into position. So if you have any technical questions or any issues you want to contact the factory, please call us at 1-800-900-9276. Thank you.